Join the revolution.
This is the Good Life Revolution.
Health, lifestyle, and finance. Now, here's award-winning host and best-selling author, Jesse Dillon.
This is Jesse Dillon. You are coast to coast and worldwide today. Dialed into The Good Life at goodliferevolution.com. Coast to coast, 60 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, 104 stations with Salem, Clear Channel, and heard on Business Rockstars and a number of other shows throughout North America. So welcome back. It is a good life. Now, life is about to get better here on the show today because we have a fascinating guest. First of all, he is the winningest gold medal athlete in Olympic history. We've seen him time and time again on the Olympics winning medals. We watched you. I mean, I feel like, I'm a lot older than you. I got married on the day you were born, so... But, man, we are the biggest fans of you, the entire family. Apolo Ohno, welcome to The Good Life. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Jesse.
So you're an interesting entrepreneur. You're an interesting man. You've just finished a $300 million financing of a company you're building overseas. You competed and won Dancing with the Stars. You're a household name in North America, but you're also very, very smart and very sharp, and you seem to have a propensity to recognize trends before they occur. And so
I try to.
Yeah.
I try to. As you mentioned, my background obviously is in the Olympic space. I spent 15 years of my life completely and solely dedicated towards one craft and one thing only, and that was basically becoming the best, fastest, and strongest speed skater that I could possibly be. Had a very blessed, wonderful career, lasted a long time, retired in 2010 here in Vancouver, BC. Was the final time I actually was on the ice, and ended my career with 8 Olympic medals. Hit the ground running as soon as I had retired. And I think innately within myself, I've always been hungry for success, hungry to improve, hungry to learn, hungry for the creative process. Ooh.
Somebody agrees they're outside watching the live version. We're on a monitor on the street. You've got fans. You can hear them honking. That's cool.
Thank you for Van City, right?
Don't honk anymore.
So, my career has been, up and down, but for the most part, I've been very blessed to have just tremendous success. The one thing that I always kind of kept in the back of my mind when I was competing, Jesse, was the simple fact that I was hungry for success no matter what path or what direction I was doing. So whether it was business, whether it was something outside of speed skating, whether it was in the Olympic space, whether it was in the motivational speaking category or writing a book, Dancing with the Stars, like you mentioned, hosting a TV show, I wanted to be the best. I wanted to break through all potential previous thought potentials that I had for myself in terms of performance. I wanted to surpass that. And so for the past 5 years of my life, I've been solely dedicated towards one specific element, amongst other things, but one that was really caught my eye, and that was simply, how do I improve? How do I maximize my performance from a mental capacities perspective, from a cognitive processing standpoint, right? We upgrade every single thing in our lives, whether it's our iPhones, whether it's our MP3 players, televisions, cars, but our brains seemingly are still processing the same amount. 25 years ago, right? You ask somebody to memorize something, you can do it 25 times faster and more effectively today, right? Theoretically speaking. I wanted to tap into my own personal growth, my own personal creative process, and figure out how I was going to be able to juggle all of the different elements of my businesses, my personalities, my social life, my friends, and also maintain somewhat of a healthy lifestyle in the meantime, right? So, you mentioned all these different projects and companies that I've been involved with. But this has been, I think, far and beyond the one thing I've been completely fascinated and obsessed with, and that is brain cognitive functioning, health, and is essentially how do I juggle all these different elements of my life while also maintaining the peak performance level and surpassing what I previously thought was possible.
It's interesting you're talking about brain health. We've had a number of guests on the show recently, Dr. David Perlmutter, Dr. Ravens from Johns Hopkins University, anti-aging specialist who, David's got a well-known PBS show right now.
Yeah, Superstars.
Superstars, New York Times bestselling authors, talking about brain health. And there are those amongst us that think that is the fastest growing area of medicine because people are living longer now. And you need your cognitive skills. And it has traditionally been one of the least areas of concern for us.
Well, I think just previously, I mean, we've always seen, we've seen testosterone boosters on the internet and being marketed to us. We've seen weight loss products. Those trends will never go out of style. They're always going to be there. People are always interested in vanity, always interested in improving their exterior shell. But the most important aspect, I think, now in this current day and age is not only brain health from a consumer perspective is saying, hey, look, I want to make sure I have neuroprotective properties. I want to make sure that I have something that I'm ingesting or I'm taking or I'm living a lifestyle so where when I am 60, 70, 80, I can still think properly. I may not look or be shredded or have the body that I used to go run around the beach in, but you know what? My cognitive functioning is still the same and I can still process information. I can play with my kids. I can have a relationship with my grandkids, all of my family members, and I'm active and I have nothing kind of holding me back in that perspective. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is now you have a new generation of individuals, primarily based in San Francisco and on the West Coast, who are solely dedicated and interested in hacking their brain and hacking their life. How do I get the maximum output with the minimal amount of time put in? Right? So how do I make sure that I can still outperform every single thing else? I want to, if you give me a certain template, I want to read what's necessary and I'll disregard what's not. We have so many different inundating things incorporated into our lives every single day. How do I retain the information that's important and maximize my effectiveness every single day? How do I become the most efficient and effective leader, entrepreneur, business person in my specific arena without having to completely immerse myself or become 99% dedicated towards one sport, which was the Olympics, right? What if somebody could go in and say, look, I want to retain 80% of what you do, but only put in 10% of the work, right? Well, that 10% of the work happens to be the most efficient and most effective areas, right? But how do you do that? Well, the brain health, brain space, and obviously nootropics or the supplementation, nutraceuticals have been, I think, for the past 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, have been the most focused and developed area on the marketplace today. And consumers now, either they are everyday mainstream consumers or they're people looking to greatly supercharge and quantum leap their performance, whether it's in the boardroom, whether it's simply just dealing with day-to-day activities. That's going to be, this trend that we're seeing right now is here to stay for a long period of time. And brain health, anti-aging for the brain, and cognitive functioning, essentially, how do you become smarter, right? You become, if you want to improve your entire life, and this becomes more than just simply taking a tablet or taking a pharmaceutical drug, right? This is now encompassing everything, saying, look, I want to help you improve your life. What are the things immediately that would help you or help attract you to a certain business or make you a happier person? Most people will say, if I could make more money in my job, if I could be a more effective leader, if I could come up with better ideas in the boardroom, right? Well, what instigates those types of thought processes, right? That synapse firing that happens daily. Most of the neurogenesis that occurs, your brain is usually going through this process and these cells are dying before you ever get to use them, right? Before you can catalog them in your brain. So I think right now people are trying to figure out this balance between health, right, physically, whether it's exercise exertion, whether it's doing some kind of CrossFit training or just simply going for a run or jog or walk, and also incorporating brain health, which is something that I believe and we've been seeing is the number one driving factor behind making the type of decisions, becoming that personal leader, becoming the person who's going to say, I'm going to make changes in my life. I'm going to be able to do these types of positive elements that is going to trigger everything else, right? So, we used to do this back in when I was training for so long during spring training, right, which is our off season. Whenever an athlete was looking to quantum leap their performance, the first thing that I would tell them is you need to make a drastic change in the way that you eat, sleep, and train. Okay. Now, so when you look at that, it's from an outside perspective, you see the shell of the person changing, you see the physical body, you see the improvements, and that person, because they see those improvements, psychologically, they are now standing taller, walking with a different type of energy, right? When someone like that walks into a room, from 6 months before they started this process to when they see the results 6 months later, drastically different. But that wasn't initiated because I just held a gun to their head, right? They had to mentally, cognitively make that decision in terms of, yes, I'm going to take that first step forward and make these decisions. So my focus and my business perspective and my goals are, how do we give people the best tools possible on the planet? Right? How do I make sure I'm able to give someone something, if it's a supplement form, whether it's a coaching mechanism, whether it's a motivational factor, and say, look, I want to help you achieve far more than you thought was possible. If you wrote down your goal for me today, where you want to be in a year, I want to double that. That's interesting to me, right? I want to reach for something that's out of reach. I want to leave no stones unturned in that preparation. That to me is something that I get excited about. So, whenever we make these weekly microcycle goals or mesocycle goals or whatever we're doing, and I take you back to my speed skating days. When I look at and I smile thinking about my previous conversations with my friends and these athletes, and they would say, I would ask them, right? Because me being the leader on the team for so long, they would say, how do I do this? How do I do that? I said, well, tell me what your end result goal is, and let's work backwards, right? Where do you want to be? What kind of a speed skater do you want to be? Do you want to be a great athlete? Do you want to be the most winningest record medal? Whatever element that is, tell me what that is. And some of these guys say, look, I want to break 128.9 in a time trial. I say, okay, great. That's your end goal. Let's work backwards. What are the things you need to do to make that necessary, right? And so they would say 128. I say, let's just shoot for 127 because we know you're going to make 128. Let's bring it up a notch. And that's where I get excited as an individual.
Apolo Ohno, my guest today. We're going to come back and find out how he can improve your brain health in just a moment. A great honor and a privilege to have you here today, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Jesse Dillon. You are coast to coast and worldwide. Dial into the Good Life at goodliferevolution.com.
You've been listening to The Good Life Revolution. Join today's thought leaders in health, lifestyle, and finance at goodliferevolution.com.